So, hey, how everybody doing? So first and foremost, our federal government does a lot of good things. They also do a lot of things that are shade and a lot of things that we don't necessarily agree with. That's why in a free society, we have the ability to lobby for laws. We have ways we can elect presidents. We can elect senators and all type of things. It's a process that we go through. And normally it's a pretty straight-laced process, very diplomatic process. We're very blessed to live in the United States. But the CIA is an agency that pretty much protects the national interests of the United States, and a lot of what they do is national security. They're not necessarily law enforcement. What they do is they protect national security interests, and they run a lot of programs that are kind of shady, like what I'm about to talk about. So there was a program back in the early '60s and '70s was called MK Ultra, and MK Ultra was a mind control program to where, like for instance, the Cold War was all about technology, a race to technology, and who was going to get technology first, and who was going to have the upper hand on perfecting these technologies, perfecting research, and having the best of the best in case something does break out. We have the upper hand on our enemy. So MK Ultra was a mind control program because the main thing about attacking any person or any society or anything you want to take control of, you have to control their mind, perfect their mind, and also wonder how their mind operates and how somebody's mind will operate under stress and all type of other situations. So under Operation MK Ultra, there was a sub project going on. It was called Operation Midnight Climax. And what Midnight Climax was, it was carried out by the CIA. It was a sub project of MK Ultra, and it was a mind control research program that began in the 1950s. It was initially established in 1954 by Sidney Gottlieb and placed under the direction of the Federal Bureau of Narcotics in Boston, Massachusetts. The federal narcotics agent and the CIA consultant George Hunter White under the Morgan Hall. Dr. Sidney Gottlieb was a chemist who was the chief of the chemical division of the Office of Technical Service of the CIA. Gottlieb based his plan for Project MK Ultra and Operation Midnight Climax off of an interrogation method research under Project Artichoke. Unlike Project Artichoke, Operation Midnight Climax gave Gottlieb permission to test drugs on unknowing citizens, which made way for the legacy of this operation. Hundreds of federal agents, field operatives, scientists worked on these programs before they were shut down. So MK Ultra, which was a mind control program ran by the CIA, stopped in 1977. So when this program stopped in 1977, there was a few lawsuits that came out. People, the federal government got sued, the CIA got sued, but the CIA has diplomatic immunity, which means, they're pretty much immune from prosecution because they are a agency that deals with national security. So when you deal with national security, your range is pretty long. You also have a lot of room for messing up and doing pretty much what you want to do. So supposedly in 1977, Project MK Ultra was disbanded, and it was a very disgraceful program. And what they did to these people were, basically they were people that were going through behavior modification, a lot of like torture, as far as like, what you can push the limit of the mind to. You know what I'm saying? So now we fast forward. But simultaneously, while this mind control program is going on, this program called Operation Midnight Climax was ran in San Francisco, California. And they had the CIA paid prostitutes, had prostitutes on their payroll, and they paid these prostitutes to lure Johns back to these safe houses. Now what a safe house is, the CIA will set up these black sites that are places where you can interrogate people, do research, and it's pretty much a safe setting where the CIA can pretty much monitor what they're doing in an environment where they have complete control over the subject that they're dealing with. So these are black sites in San Francisco, California. So the prostitute would lure the John back to a safe house, which was actually like a motel, and there would be a CIA scientist behind the window, and they would give the John unknowingly LSD, methamphetamine, MDMA, all these type of drugs, illicit drugs, to see what a person would do under duress, under the influence of illicit drugs. And it was just pretty much just like a science project. The CIA scientist would be on the other side of the window, and he'd be looking through a two-way mirror, and he would watch this, and this was all at a black site, and this was a controlled research program run by the CIA. Now, what I do know about the CIA is that they do a lot of things, and they don't really have to explain what they're doing to the U.S. citizens. But the thing is, because of the Freedom of Information Act, anything that the federal government does, they have to divulge that, and they have to declassify that within a reasonable point of time. So the CIA right now, because of TikTok and all these other type of sites, a lot of their business is getting put out on the street. But the thing is, because of the Freedom of Information Act, the CIA has declassified this stuff, but the language that the CIA uses is so, the language is not where a normal person could understand what the language is. So they're hoping that when somebody reads these federal documents, that the person doesn't understand what it is. But if you read these documents, I would suggest to anybody read line by line, go in the dictionary, go to Google, look up these phrases, because the CIA has a lot of things going on that if an average person knew what was going on in this country, they would probably have nightmares for the rest of their life. Because we have been in contact with aliens. Aliens have killed Navy SEALs and turned Navy SEALs into stone. And there's UFOs flying around, and the federal government knows that there's aliens out there right now. And that's very scary to know, because who would ever thought that we would ever come into contact with aliens, and that the general public would know this and nobody cares? And the reason why is because the federal government has been conditioning us for this time in history through Hollywood. Like these movies that we see in X-Men and Independence Day, this and the third, these movies are conditioning us to the things that are going on right now. So we have slowly been conditioned so that when we see an alien invasion, which is going to happen, they're going to hide it from us anyway, because of Operation Bluebeam, which is where they throw up a hologram in the sky, hide the alien invasion, and make us think there's something that's not. The federal government does protect its citizens, but they try to hide a lot of stuff from us that they don't think we can handle. At this point, they've already said that we have aliens. They took the alien body, put it on the table in Congress, and said, this is the alien body we found in Mexico. And how did the public respond to that? Some believed it, some didn't believe it, but life still went on. The coronavirus, all these things that go on in society right now, they're events that are preset. So it might be event 127, event 128. Everything that happens in this world right now is preset, and they're called events. So these events are going to keep happening. And also, because of the Freedom of Information Act, if you go to the CIA website and you look at declassified CIA documents, there are millions of pages of documents that are declassified by the CIA. And if you read these documents, I don't see how anybody would not be shocked and shitting bricks after they read what's going on in the world. And humans have superpowers. Humans can astral project, remote view, channel. Humans can walk through walls. Humans can levitate. Humans can move things with their eyes. And the reason why we can't do that is because humans have something in their skull called a pineal gland. And most Americans, their pineal gland is suppressed because of fluoride, stuff we put in water, the stuff that they put in food. Our food is poison. So your pineal gland allows you to see things in the supernatural that you would not otherwise see if your pineal gland was not calcified. So back to the pineal gland. So the CIA has been having psychics on their payroll for years. People that can remote view. And what remote viewing is where, say, a plane crashed in Ecuador and they couldn't find the plane, they would fly a psychic in, and the psychic would give the longitude and latitude of where the plane crashed in Ecuador. Somebody that remote view could read an envelope in a motel room in Chicago, and they could be in Memphis. How's that possible? Because God has given us these gifts already that we think it comes from God. But the federal government does not want people to know that we have these abilities. The more your pineal gland gets decalcified and your pineal gland gets activated, you'll start seeing vision. You'll start stepping into what your real purpose is. Damn near a superhero. So just look at that. They have people on the payroll right now that can do these amazing things, and they're putting all this information out because of the Freedom of Information Act. So their hands are pretty much tied behind their back. But when you read these documents, don't let the language frazzle you. Read it. Look up words you don't understand. They got a lot of charts, a lot of charts and graphs and stuff like that. Everything's real technical. They're banking on that a person of average intelligence will not be able to decipher what this stuff is, and more times than not, they're right. But if you want to get more stories like this, more information like this, just tune into my TikTok channel and realize something. Platforms like TikTok, Facebook, stuff like that are not CNN, they're not Fox News, they're not controlled by the Illuminati, they're not controlled by the federal government. So, and then also, you can get information on the internet that might be taken down in a day or so that might not ever be aired again. But also, when you know something and you know information, you have to be careful, because sometimes you can be too smart and you can come up missing. So just make sure that everything